Let's take you to this developing story. The city of Joburg remains without a mayor for now, as an extraordinary meeting scheduled to do exactly this function today was adjourned without an outcome. Speaker Colleen Makhubela has set another special sitting for this Friday, but will there be a new mayor, anyone in the city of Johannesburg? Let's speak to Mbalenhle Mthethwa now, who joins us live now. Mbalenhle, here we are again. It feels like it's deja vu. We've had so many processes in the city of Johannesburg to elect a mayor. Some of them even ended up in the courts. What happened now?
Well, after a long day of many caucus breaks, one of them being an hour long and the longest being three hours long, and another one, ultimately the Speaker of Council, Colleen Makhubela, decided to adjourn Council, saying that it is clear that councillors are not ready to elect a new executive mayor. At the time she said this, it was just after Al-Jamar had also requested a caucus break of its own. And at the time, we could not see ANC members, councillors inside council. It's been like this all day, really. We've just been sitting, waiting for the proceedings to get underway. But when it was time for those proceedings to get underway, we were met by an adjournment to Friday. Now, if you remember the conversation that I had a little bit earlier on today with Dr. MEC Mzikumalo, he said that councillors would have, or council would have another 7 days before he would be forced to intervene and put the city under administration if they are unable to find or elect a mayor. Now, we understand that part of the reason behind these many caucus breaks is that party members have been deliberating as to who will then be nominated. Earlier on today, we heard of rumors that the ANC was not able to, the ANC coalition in the city of Johannesburg was not able to make a decision as to whether it will go ahead with Kabelo Gwamanda, who is an Al-Jamar candidate, or if they will then select the council speaker, which is Colleen Makhubela, as the candidate to then replace former executive mayor in the city of Johannesburg, Al-Jamar's Thapelo Ahmad. It seems as though that has been at the heart of this delay that we've seen today. At some point, we got confirmation, received confirmation that, they will go ahead with the chosen candidate, and that would have been Kabelo Gwamanda. But it's unclear as to why it is that council was eventually adjourned in the manner that it's been adjourned right now. I'm joined by Action SA's Michael Beaumont, who has expressed his unhappiness over how councillors have really just conducted themselves today, really just expressing outrage over the delays that we've seen today, and the fact that, at the heart of this, service delivery is what suffers. The residents of Johannesburg are the ones who are then going to receive the short end of the stick. You do understand that, council plays a very important role with regards to approving adjustment budgets, which assist with regards to ensuring that services are delivered to the people of Johannesburg. He joins me now. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us. We spoke to you just a little bit earlier on, where we were talking about, your own candidate and the fact that you would be going out and speaking to other parties to try and get a majority inside council. But would you say that the adjournment came as a surprise for you?
No, I'm afraid not. I think it is expected. We have seen this time and time again, is that when the ANC and EFF house is not in order, they are quite willing to adjourn the meeting and delay the proceedings without any regard for the fact that more than R500,000 is spent to convene 270 councillors for a meeting like this, and without regard for the fact that the city of Johannesburg continues with very complex challenges without any political leadership. Right now, the officials of Johannesburg are doing as they please because the legislative function of an executive mayor in part is to ensure that there's oversight of the officials and leadership of the officials. And right now that isn't taking place in a city that is desperate for service delivery and desperate for some certainty of leadership.
What's the way forward now?
Well, I think certainly we can only speak from our point of view. We are working with a group of parties that have stood together throughout the course of today. We haven't called for caucus breaks. We've been ready to have this election since 10 o'clock this morning. That includes Action SA, the IFP, the Freedom Front Plus, the ACDP and the UIM. And we are working with other political parties as well. The engagements with the Democratic Alliance have not been successful because for some reason the Democratic Alliance has adopted a position that it wants to stand alone in a world of coalitions. But we are very pleased to say that there are a lot of political parties that used to work with the ANC and EFF who are disillusioned. They're embarrassed to be associated with a coalition that can call council meetings just for the sake of 9 hours of caucus breaks. And they are talking to us, and we want to work to build a majority around a like-minded group of parties in Johannesburg.
Well, what I hear you say is that we could see an Action SA candidate really emerging to the mayoral seat, really, if everything goes well and those talks with those coalition partners go well.
Certainly, and I think the critical thing is that we've had a conversation within our group of parties about the quality of the candidate. I think too much about the mayoral candidate has been about which party they come from. But I think the bigger consideration is who is the right person. And that is why we took a week to engage with a group of parties to identify Funzi and Ngobeni.
I'm sorry. We're just running out of time, and I just have to ask this. The question on many people's minds is that, there's been unhappiness over a minority candidate being fielded for the mayoral position because they haven't been voted in. Action SA might have a little bit more numbers in terms of seats, but, we can't really say they were voted in by the people. What are your thoughts around those sentiments?
Well, I'm not sure who we were voted in by then, because I certainly believe that the 44 seats we have in Johannesburg as the third largest party in our first election is a very considerable result. But I think most importantly, it's got to be said that Action SA has a quality of leadership that can bring stability. Funzi Ngobeni has the right temperament to run stable coalition. And let us be clear, the ANC and the DA have both failed to lead coalitions in the city. And the last 18 months are testament to that. So I think it's time the job now falls to the third biggest party.
Thank you so much for speaking to us. There you have it. That is Action SA's Michael Beaumont, really just expressing his unhappiness over what has transpired and saying that they will be going into meetings and trying to get more people to join their coalition agreement and their coalition partnership that they are trying to form in the city of Johannesburg, obviously with Funzi Ngobeni as their preferred candidate to then take over from Al-Jamal's Thapelo Ahmad. For now, though, it's back to you in studio.
All right, that's Mbalenhle Mthethwa there, and of course it boggles the mind as to why were they not ready. You saw it here on the show, Iman. I mean, just last week, Monday, we brought the viewers that live briefing. It was the ANC Gauteng chair. They knew that they've got a couple of more days to everyone finalize what's going on. Now we're here.
If you could see, I've got a speech bubble above my head. It says many colorful things, and I'll leave it up to you to decide what those are. The reality is that Africa's richest city,
yes,
which is Johannesburg,
yeah,
is leaderless and likely to be for a few more days, but it's also been a revolving door of mayors.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
And then you have the courts now having to come into this issue, but at the same time, at the heart of this, service delivery. The residents of Johannesburg are probably wondering what's going on.
If you don't do it for us, just do it for our tires, please.
Because the potholes are real. So definitely, yeah.